And we begin tonight with a live look inside the United Center in Chicago, where night 2 of the Democratic National Convention just wrapped up. And you can just feel the energy coming out of that building throughout the night. Former President Barack Obama harnessed that energy just moments ago. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday night. I'm Priscilla Casper. Now, he paid tribute to President Joe Biden while also comparing Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is.
And with that, we have team coverage inside and outside of the convention. Our Glenn Jones, Matt Pritchard, and Sue O'Connell are in Chicago to give us analysis on this second night of the DNC. We do want to begin things with our Glenn Jones. He's outside of the United Center. Glenn, good evening.
Good evening, Priscilla, where it's almost Wednesday on the East Coast. It's been 20 years since Boston, when Barack Obama first took the stage at a Democratic National Convention as a state senator from Illinois, and then the U.S. Senate and then the White House. But over the past 8 years, not much politics from America's first black president. We certainly heard from him tonight, though. We heard from some New England political voices, too. Let's turn to Matt Pritchard inside the United Center. Matt, there were big speeches and big energy tonight.
Yeah, Glenn, no doubt about it. It's back-to-back nights of big energy inside of the United Center. This place has been filled to the brim both nights. I've looked around. Every seat has been filled. And remember, this is where the Chicago Bulls play their basketball games. And this was essentially a home court advantage for Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as well. You mentioned their ties to Chicago, one time being an Illinois senator and rising all the way to the Oval Office and the presidency. He talked about a lot of different things, praising his vice president and the current president, Joe Biden, and quickly pivoting then to Kamala Harris, the passing of the baton, saying that this is the moment to transition to a new generation, and making clear to the delegates and everyone inside of the building that this election is not a foregone conclusion and is going to take everyone come November.
The torch has been passed. Now it is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight. For all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks, for all the rallies and the memes, this will still be a tight race in a closely divided country.
Our Massachusetts delegates very impressed with what they heard from the president. I talked with Representative Jim McGovern as well as Senator Ed Markey, both of them saying that the president struck the right tone. And of course, we are going to hear more from Massachusetts representatives, the governor as well, coming up later in the week. But tonight, we heard another New Englander, that being Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who took to the stage with a message about what he wants to see this nation do in the next 4 years.
In the last 3.5 years, working together, we have accomplished more than any government since FDR. But much, much more remains to be done.
And we have much, much more work to do as the week goes along. Tomorrow, you will have Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, who will take to the stage officially accepting that nomination. We are also going to hear from former President Bill Clinton. So the heavy hitters of the Democratic Party continue tomorrow night. NBC 10 Boston will have you covered from floor to the rafters and outside to Glenn.
Matt Pritchard inside the United Center on night 2. Thank you, sir. We've brought in NBC 10 political commentator Sue O'Connell for analysis. All right, Sue, the big headliner tonight was, of course, former President Barack Obama. How did he do?
Well, he absolutely knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was an amazing speech. It reminded us of what a great orator he is. It reminded us, like, where the heck has he been for the past 8 years when we needed him at times? He absolutely was able to take shots at Donald Trump in a way that wasn't mean, right? And really highlighted the differences. And he spoke in very plain ways, simple ways about his late mother-in-law, his grandmother, in ways that we could all relate to talk about what the power of America really is.
All right, let's talk about campaigning as a whole right now. There are two campaigns, obviously. One interesting note is that VP Harris and Tim Walz were not here tonight. Mm-hmm. They were doing a rally in a battleground state in Wisconsin. And at the same time, the Trump-Vance campaign has been out in battleground states and will be doing so all week as counter-programming. So who's kind of winning this war of getting the message out in an important and shortened campaign season?
So the Harris and Walz campaign is winning. It's a really difficult to counter program against a party's week. It's almost impossible to do. But as you note, since this is an abbreviated campaign season, I can understand why the Trump campaign has to be out there. And the same is true for the Harris campaign. She has to go out there and introduce herself to voters and waste no time. But the danger here for the Trump ticket is that the Harris campaign has all of this momentum. So every time there's a Vance or Trump crowd and it's smaller than the Harris-Walz crowd, it brings negative attention to the Republican ticket and apparently upsets Donald Trump.
You raise a good point, and that's why they were in the exact arena he was a few weeks ago.
Right.
All right, let's talk about this delicate roll call.
Yeah.
Holy clam chowder. It was such a party. Every state was involved. There was a DJ playing. It really was a party. Is it effective?
Yeah, I think it was. Remember, this wasn't the official roll call. It already happened. Too complicated right now to explain to you why. So it was a celebratory roll call. They had plenty of room to have all this fun. And these campaigns are all about these bite-sized clips that can be shared on social media. And the Harris campaign has been winning those meme wars. Never before has the vast tapestry of America's cultures been on display in such a joyful way at a convention and in a fun way. But while the music and the dancing and the excitement was positive, they were talking about abortion. They were talking about poverty. They were talking about the loss of rights. All these sobering and serious points. So it was definitely, as Mary Poppins would say, a spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. The voters are going to remember the joy, and they're going to remember the message, more importantly.
You didn't tell me I was going to see Little John at the DNC. My goodness.
I think Marissa Tomei was there. Would that have had the same impact?
No, maybe it would have been a little bit different. Sue O'Connell, thank you. On the subject of social media, the DNC credentialed about 200 content creators to be in the building behind me this week. Here in Chicago, I sat down with Sam Hunt, social media strategist and a Globe Bostonian of the Year. We talked about the work he's doing on social media in support of the vice president. He also had to admit President Biden's candidacy was unable to generate the same excitement online.
It didn't take a lot of convincing to get people on board. The second that we had an inkling that she was going to be the nominee, everybody got so excited. Across the board, there's a resurgence in energy and support behind this vice president.
And that social media hype is tangible. A Monmouth University poll found voter enthusiasm quadrupled since last year. Quadrupled. Take a look. Just 21% of Democrats were excited about the 2024 election in December. Compare that to 85% now. My goodness, those numbers are incredible. That's all for us here in Chicago tonight. On behalf of Sue O'Connell and Matt Pritchard, I'm Glenn Jones. We'll be back tomorrow for another night of this DNC. The theme is A Fight for Freedoms. Priscilla?
All right, Glenn, night 2 in the books. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much. And for you at home, Glenn, Matt, and our political analyst, Sue O'Connell, will have you covered from Chicago tomorrow and Thursday. You can catch their live reports both on air and online at NBC10boston.com.